Illman and Matt Bernier with the DRFBets race of the day for Thursday, June the 13th. It's race number 7 at Belmont Park. We're going 1 mile on the Widener turf, weather permitting, and it is a non-winners of one other than allowance for fillies and mares. Remember to play your money-back guarantee with DRFBets. Play $7 to win on any one horse in a race of the day this month, and if that selection finishes second or third, you get your money back for DRFBets. Ready, set, bet. Here's the field for race number 7. Download those free Formulator past performances on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com and handicap along with us. We'll take this field in post position order, Matt, beginning with the number 1, English Soul. This is a multiple stakes winner on the dirt that has run some decent races on turf. In Mike Welsh's advance for this race on DRF Live, however, he mentions that she missed a lot of time with colitis, and I wonder what we're going to get on turf as her first start as a 4-year-old. She's certainly bred for it.
Yeah, my other big thing is, you go through and look at what she's done throughout her career. She has a very nice record, 6 times in the exacta from 9 lifetime starts, 4 of them are victories. I don't see any sort of progression from her in any of the 9 starts. I feel like she runs more or less the same race. Sometimes it's good enough, sometimes it's not. But from a number standpoint, she really hasn't improved on the Beyer scale. She really hasn't improved too much on the time form scale. I look, it's not out of the realm of possibility that she could run well here. I think she needs to jump up in a big way.
Trainer Ray Handel's having a very nice meet. We have an unfortunate formulator fact for Handel. However, over the past 5 years, older dirt to turf runners 0-4-34. We'll see what we get off the layoff. She should at least be forwardly placed in this race. At least that's what Timeform US thinks as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, which has English Soul out there on a pretty uncontested early lead, and that would obviously be good for her. A wet turf course, which is very possible on Thursday, would work well for the number 2, Goodbye Broccoli, who won one of the New York Stallion Series races last year over yielding turf, has run well at Belmont over good turf, and should do better with that last race under her belt. I think the layoff hurt her, and I think that race was just a little far for her.
Yeah, and also, too, I think the way it was run, she was, I don't want to say close to it, but she was relatively close to what Timeform had as a hot pace throughout in those middle fractions. Off the layoff, I'm not going to hold that against her. The big thing for me, her race record at Belmont, you touched on it, is just so much better than anywhere else, better than Saratoga, better than Aqueduct. Seems like she does her best running here, and again, you kind of alluded to it as well. If there is some cut in the ground, won't hurt her at all.
Bit surprising that the 3 Panther hit went off at 37-1 in her debut at Gulfstream, considering her pedigree. She's by Giants Causeway out of a Galileo mare. She ran really well to be second. She was very green. She was flashing her tail about in the stretch. A lot more professional second time out when she was able to get right to the lead, and she was much the best that day, winning with an 81 Beyer. Took on stakes competition last time out, got caught in a bit tight in between horses. She figures to learn a lot from that race, and that race has already produced a couple of next out winners.
Yeah, from a class standpoint, I think she fits in here really well. I'm going to be anxious to see how she's ridden in here because so far she's only had 1 victory and it came in gate-to-wire fashion. And again, it's always one of those things. It's not that you totally doubt that they can do it, but until they do it, I'd like them to prove it. Look, she could also work out a beautiful trip. If you believe that the 1 is going to go, she could park just off of that filly and I think have first run on any of the deep closers.
The dirt to turf move has worked well in the past for the 4, Courageous Dinah. She won that non-winners of one other than for New York breds back at Aqueduct in April of 2018. And she switches to Jose Ortiz, who was aboard for her most recent win, albeit on sloppy dirt several starts back. Now, her Beyer speed figures on turf, there's 181 that would put her in the mix. But when I watched that race, I just thought she got a great trip in behind horses, in the pocket. She eased out and she just couldn't get there. Is she good enough to take these down?
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced. I agree with you about that run at Belmont back in June of last year. From a numbers standpoint, that's really the only one that stacks up in here. Otherwise, she's a little bit up against it. And look, I mean, I just, even if you like her, Jose's presence is probably going to depress her price a little bit more than it should.
And here's Brad Cox again with the number 5, Dream Passage. We've got a strong formulator fact for a red-hot trainer over the past 4 years. Older, last-out winning turf routers off a 45 to 60-day layoff, 34% winners, a positive return on investment. Cox stretched this horse out to this distance over yielding course last time out. She really pulled Joel Rosario right to the early lead, but once she got there, Joel backed down the fractions, or so I thought. I then looked at the Timeform US color-coded pace figures for that race. They were red, probably owing to the yielding turf course. She ran that day over this course, over a course with cut in the ground at this distance, and she's rated in the past. She's a very logical runner.
Yeah, she really is. She ticks a lot of boxes in this spot. One at Belmont has got good recent form, has a little bit of versatility, can sit, can go, whatever the case may be. And the numbers, that most recent run, if you believe that, she is arguably the horse to beat.
Bath in Tennis is going to be stretching out in distance for the first time in her career. Do you think we'll see a little bit more early speed? Last time out, she was in kind of tough in that turf sprint at Pimlico. The race before that was her first race in 8 months and her first start in North America. So we've got some excuses for a filly that's done some good things, albeit against weaker company overseas.
I was going to say, we'll also find out about the distance. I don't know that I'm totally convinced that stretching out is going to be to her benefit, but I find it interesting that they're willing to ship north with this filly, second off the bench, a little bit of added ground, and the local connections all make that move up in New York. We've seen these sort of things in the past happen. Usually when they come in midday, mid-card sort of race, could be a little bit of an interesting longer price if you're looking for one.
Another logical contender is the 7 Go Rose for Team Valor and Christophe Clement. This filly was third in the German 1,000 Guineas in her first start off a long layoff, her first start this year. While she sat a nice pocket trip, there was just absolutely no pace in front. The 1-2 finishers were giant long shots that controlled the pace. Go Rose tried to come out. She finished evenly. I thought it was a good performance that she can build on, and she can sit in mid-pack here. I also like her cutting back slightly in distance.
You'd like to think there'll be a little bit more pace for her to run at this time around, and I agree with you turning back to that sort of one-turn mile. I think that helps her cause. Look, if you believe that run and you think she can take another step forward, she's a logical contender.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the 7th race at Belmont, the race of the day on Thursday. Cole Michaela was a beneficiary of that slow pace we talked about with Go Rose back on April the 7th. She sat second off VIP Nation, and she ran okay to finish second. But last time out, I liked what she did. They put her in a starter 50. She got to the lead that day. She controlled the pace. Yes, it was weaker horses, but I liked the way she finished it off. Any of these Michael Maker claims you always have to respect. He certainly knows what he's doing. He took this horse way back in her career debut, and something tells me she doesn't need the lead to win. So I'm hoping Cole Michaela can step up in class off that confidence-boosting performance and be a decent price.
No, and I like that in that maiden score, she showed that she doesn't have to have the lead. She can sit just off of it. When that outside draw, I think maybe you get a situation where the 1 goes, the 3 sits just off, and then maybe Call Michaela takes up that sort of 3-wide stalking trip.
So I'm going to go with the 8 on top, but for me in multiple race wagers, this is a spread. I would use 3, 5, 7, and 8 with just about equal weight. You're going with Goodbye Broccoli, the number 2, second off the layoff, going to get the ground she needs. Give us a little more analysis, and then who else you like in the numbers.
Yeah, the big thing for me is just the fact that she's so much better, it seems, at Belmont Park as opposed to any of these other surfaces. For one reason or another, we've talked about it. It happens from time to time. And again, if that weather does develop, she can deal with a little bit of cut in the ground, and she might be a playable price. I don't love 4-1, but she might be okay there. I went 2-7-8-5.
Half length away from being a perfect 3 for 3 on the Widener turf is the 2 Goodbye Broccoli. Again, remember to take advantage of that promo for the race of the day this month on DRFBets. Bet $7 to win on any one horse. If your selection finishes second or third, you get your money back. Learn all the terms and conditions at promos.drf.com. Approximate post time for the 7th at Belmont on Thursday, 6:14 Eastern. Best of luck.